refugees from across the globe.
Many Palestinians, hundreds of thousands of Palestinians, are forced off their land by that conflict. So one starting fact is 5.9 million Palestinians are refugees.
What we don't realize is that what's happening in the Congo is happening in your backyard as well. 6 million people, over 6 million people have died in the Congo because it's the same conflict, right? In the DRC, we have militia groups, we have neighborhood trees, but why are they fighting? Why people die is to get control of our resources.
Join me, Maryann Okon, as we dive deep into the most pressing issues, uncovering the truth and analyzing the impact on a global scale. From corridors of power in Washington to the bustling streets of Accra, we've got you covered. We'll take you on a journey through different political systems, exploring the challenges and triumphs of the nations near and far. Hear from world leaders, experts, newsmakers, and everyday citizens as they share their perspective, providing a comprehensive overview of the political landscape. Tune in every Thursday, 4 to 5 p.m. on Hard Facts to be a part of the global conversation on 99.3 Nigeria in. The last time we talked about the DRC, we talked about the M23 rebels taking over a certain part of the DRC, and I remember my guest was talking about the fact that Uganda and of course Rwanda had a hand in it, of course, who are the M23 rebels, and he kept insisting that Rwanda had a hand in it. But then the bigger question is, why is Rwanda, a neighboring African country, invading its brother's land? I mean, it doesn't make sense, does it? But then there are deeper seated issues to be unraveled in this DRC crisis. Also, don't forget that children are slaves in some of these mines, and these are the mines that where the miners get stuff that you use to make your phones, your laptops, yes, of course, and several other issues. But then we don't talk about the DRC as much as we should. I'm not saying we can't talk about Palestine. I'm not saying you can't talk about Ukraine. I'm not saying you can't talk about all the problems across the world. But Africa has its own problems, and that's why we're focusing on it. My guest is joining me from Tennessee in the United States. This is my first time of actually having a conversation with Claude. Claude is the co-author of Survivors Uncensored. He's an ED, he's an activist, he's, I think, written about Rwanda war and genocide. Oh, he's a Rwanda war and genocide survivor. Really? Oh, he's a public speaker. He has made many global appearances. Claude Gatebuke, I hope I got your name correctly. Claude, it's so good to have you join us. Welcome to the show. I didn't know you were a survivor of the genocide. Wow. I think you're muted, Claude. I can't hear you. You're muted.
Thank you. Thank you. It's first time for everything, right?
Yes, I know.
I love the vibe on your show.
Thank you. I have been to the genocide in a museum in Rwanda twice, I think, and I have had stories. I've done a report on the genocide in Rwanda, and I'm excited to meet you. Lovely.
Yeah. Great to meet you. Great to meet you.
Yes. Let's start by looking at, for those who do not understand what's been happening in the DRC lately, especially with the M23 rebels in some parts of the DRC. Just for the purpose of those who are just listening for the first time and do not understand what's happening, just give us an overview of what's been happening in the DRC.
Yeah, I think to simplify it, when we call it the M23 rebels, it actually takes away the real responsible parties for the rebellion. The M23 is a proxy militia that is run by Rwanda and Uganda's militaries, who have invaded the Congo for the last 29 years. Since 1996, both Rwanda and Uganda, with the backing of the US, the UK, the European Union, and Canada and a bunch of other Western countries, have backed Rwanda's invasion of Congo and Uganda's invasion of Congo. And this group, the M23, the way they've done it is they'll invade and then they'll use some acronym so that they can have cover that this isn't an invasion or a war of aggression against Congo. And it's a war of plunder also. Congo is the richest country in the world with $24 trillion worth of resources under its soil. Some of those resources are things that we all use, the electronics, the coltan that comes. Congo has more than 60% of coltan's reserves for this mineral that is used in many electronic devices. Congo has a lot of gold. It has tungsten, it has copper, it has everything. I mean, when you look at the Congo and the riches of the Congo, that is what is driving the greed and the need for access to these resources so that we can have these cheap gadgets, so that people can build Teslas and all of these, the green revolution, and building those lithium batteries. All of these resources, the critical minerals that are used in those are in the Congo. So that is the basis, that is the reason why there's been so much turmoil in the Congo for the last 29 years. But in terms of the M23 itself, the M23 is a brutal group. Again, many, not only reports, there's also testimony of the people on the ground, but also we have pictures, satellite images of paths from Rwandan military camps into the M23's camps. And what they have done is no less than the genocide that I survived in 1994.
Wow.
The Congo, in the M23 is a new incarnation, by the way. They were there in 2012 and 2013, were defeated, went into camps in Rwanda and Uganda, and came back in 2022. Before them were a bunch of other groups, but all the same, commanded by Rwanda and Uganda. And for a long time, whenever this is like a hot topic, both countries will deny that they're in the Congo, especially Rwanda. Rwanda does that a lot. But what is crazy is that years ago, when they had a similar group with a different name, it was the same players, different name. They kept denying that Rwandan troops were in the Congo. And then one day they held a ceremony to welcome Rwanda's troops coming back from Congo, even though they have been denying that the troops were there. And another thing that's happening today, you have Rwanda's president, Paul Kagame, who has found a way to fool so many people on the African continent into thinking that he's a Pan-African, but he's out there causing the death and destruction. Since the invasion of Congo, the Congo has lost more than 6 million people. That is half of the population of Rwanda. If you take the people who've been displaced, the 7 million people who were displaced in the Congo since that invasion, plus there's more than 6 million people who have died, who have been killed as part of this invasion, you have a whole population of Rwanda. And the denials kept coming, but then eventually even their friends, the US, sanctioned Kagame's right-hand man, his wingman, General James Kabarebe. Their friends at the European Union, they're sanctioning Rwanda on a number of economic fronts. The friends in the UK has been a major supporter started out especially with Tony Blair. They've been major supporters of Rwanda's government, and they provided cover. They refused.
But I'm sorry to interject. Why do you think that the US, the EU, are supporting Rwanda and Uganda to invade their fellow Africans? And I think the bigger question is, why is Paul Kagame open to invading Africa to do stuff that he would not allow to be done in his country? Why do you think that is?
So there are multiple reasons. There's the Europe part and the America and the UK's part in supporting Kagame to doing it. I think number one is anti-Black racism, where it's, if this was happening to a European country, they would not stand for it. You could not have 6 million white Europeans killed and nothing happens. That's one. Secondly, they want the access to the resources. And so it's easy to have a local plantation manager, a local mercenary group that is securing those resources. That's the second thing. And a third thing is that it's also easier and better when you look at the world in the way it's run with white supremacy ideology, that it looks like black on black crime because you don't see the Europeans and the Americans and the British and others who are providing those weapons. You don't see them. All you see is a black criminal committing crime against their own black people. Now, for Kagame has a long history of committing heinous crimes. It started out when he was in Uganda. In the 1980s, when he was part of Yoweri Museveni's rebellion. Yoweri Museveni is the president of Uganda.
Yes.
When they were in that rebellion, they massacred and killed all kinds of people. The same thing that we're seeing today. I mean, things as bad as going into, like today, right now, the M23 Rwandan troops are going into hospitals and stabbing wounded people to death. People were already wounded. They were doing that in Uganda. Uganda was like the training ground for all of that. And this was in the 80s. 1986, Yoweri Museveni wins the war, takes over. He installs a bunch of Rwandan exiles, including Paul Kagame, in Uganda's government. In 1990, Paul Kagame was in the US on a Ugandan passport at Fort Leavenworth in Kansas, training because he was the military chief intelligence leader in Uganda. That's when the invasion of Rwanda started. And then he came and he fought that war. They committed the same type of atrocities in Rwanda, and he ended up winning. 2 years later, he went into the Congo, him and Yoweri Museveni, his godfather in crime. They went together, invaded the Congo with the help, and all of this was always with the help of Western powers. So what do they get in return? For one, they've committed all those crimes. So if they didn't have the protection, the international protection that they have, they would have been exposed a long time ago. The international media would have been covering their crimes in the same way that they're covered when it's committed by the either enemies or adversaries of Western powers. He, at this point, and Museveni would have already been indicted by the ICC and held accountable. The US would not have been getting in the way every time there's a report showing these atrocities to stop the reports from going public. Every time that these reports actually come out, especially with the UN, most of the times the US has gotten in the way. So he gets all those protections. He gets to perpetuate himself in power, and the US and Western countries are used to doing that, to having puppets around the world who serve their interests. And that's what we do for the team. In turn, he serves as the local mercenary. Their armies serve as local mercenaries. I'll give you another example to wrap this up for both of them. Just a couple quick examples. Rwandan troops are in Mozambique, in Cabo Delgado, against the wishes of the Mozambican people. The Mozambican people have been protesting to have Rwandan troops removed, and they are there to secure French oil company Total's oil reserves. The same thing that Ugandan troops are doing in Eastern Congo. They're securing French oil Total's resources in Eastern Congo. You have Rwandan troops in the Central African Republic. You had Rwandan troops serving in these UN peacekeeping missions that don't keep peace in Darfur and in Haiti. You have Ugandan troops in Somalia that are serving in this war against terror. So these armies now, their armies now serve as mercenaries that are for hire for Western governments, where they would rather not send boots on the ground of their own armies.
What are other African countries? Because I mean, I know that there are people who have their biases against the African Union and you know how the leaders are perceived globally. But what are other countries other than South Africa, which I heard had tried to help the DRC, and a few of their soldiers were killed. What are other African countries doing about this? Because it's really heartbreaking that the whole of Africa would fold its arms and watch Rwanda and Uganda plunder the DRC, and as a result of that, there is no peace, and people are being displaced, women are raped, children are killed, and of course you don't have water, no sanitation. What are other African countries doing? In 2 minutes, because we're going to go on a quick break.
So yes, you've had South Africa, Tanzania, and Malawi have had their troops in the Congo, but now they're pulling out. There also was a group of East African soldiers from Kenya, Tanzania, Uganda, and Burundi, and I think South Sudan. It was a mess. They went in there and they made it even worse, to the extent that the Congolese people actually started protesting against those troops, and they ended up leaving because they were endangering their lives. And now with the SADC, the Southern African Development soldiers, it was actually better. They were protecting the civilians, but now with all of the most recent developments, they're leaving the Congo. The rest of the African countries, they're just watching. And it's a tragedy. It's a tragedy. Although over the years, there's been times when Angola and Namibia and Zimbabwe have intervened on the side of the Congolese. This was a long time ago, in the early 2000s. But most African countries are just watching this happen, and without Congo, Africa cannot be free, because Congo is like the heart of Africa, with all those resources that could actually help everybody, in terms of being liberated, but also thrive.
Well, Lagos, in case you're just joining us, this global review, I still have in the studio with me Claude Gatebuke. He is the co-author of Survivors Uncensored, and you're wondering what survivor he is. He's a Rwanda war and genocide survivor. He's a public speaker. He's an activist. And we're talking about what's happening in the DRC. And just to pick a few things that he said, a few African countries have tried to, intervene. But what is the rest of Africa doing? I'm imagining if someone were to invade my country and the rest of the ECOWAS is watching, it would be saddening. But anyway, when we come back from the break, Claude is still with us. He's joining us live from Tennessee in the United States. We'll be right back after this break. Stay with us. Millions of listeners had what's particular issues, conversations, and trending stories. With credible and objective.
It's Hard Facts with Maryann Okon on 99.3 Nigeria Info. This is Hard Facts on 99.3 Nigeria Info. We'll be right back.
Is that Alfie playing football in the rain?
It's Toby Chio.
My goodness. When did he grow up?
That's it with kids, though.
It's amazing how your child grows up before your eyes. Enable their thriving development with the new NanKid 4 with HMOs to support your child's development, probiotics, and high-quality proteins to support age-appropriate growth. NanKid 4. Nourish your child's potential.
Start your children's day with a great taste of Ovaltine, enriched with multi-nourishment, calcium, malt, and vitamin B12 to support learning and playtime. Ovaltine, smart choice, smart kids.
During this blessed month of Ramadan, we begin with faith and the spirit of giving.
Families and neighbors come together by sharing delicious meals. From jollof rice to tomato stew, from moi moi to porridge beans, every meal is specially prepared and flavorful with Onga seasoning cubes. Together, we share not just food, but love with those who need it most.
Celebrate the blessings of this holy month with Onga seasoning cubes. Onga, for great taste and aroma.
Are you ready to unlock your full potential? Join us as we celebrate
10 years of empowering futures. Whether you're a budding entrepreneur or a hardworking professional, we are here to support you every step of the way with our expert guidance and tailored financial solutions. The horizon is yours to explore. Join us today and start your journey to a brighter future. For more information, you can visit us at any of our branches close to you. DDMFB, empowering futures.
The holy month of Ramadan is upon us. As we embark on this journey, let's not forget to show love through sharing. This Ramadan, stay ahead with Dairy Power from Suhoor to Iftar. Join us every Monday to Friday as we explore the spiritual and physical benefits of the month, plus exciting recipes. Catch us on our YouTube page, Hollandia Dairy Nigeria, and on Dadin Kowa, Faranwata, Sunna TV, Arewa TV, and African Magic Hausa TV stations. Ramadan Mubarak from Hollandia.
2024 was a very interesting year. I had finally saved enough to buy my home on the island. My dream of becoming a landlord in Lagos was about to come to pass. Then, I got a call. Hello, Dad. I just got admission to study in UK. Now, this might sound like great news, but in that moment, it was a very big dilemma. Do I fulfill my lifelong dream of owning a home in Lagos or send my son to school abroad and remain a tenant? Well, when I saw the affordable homes by Horizon Estates, I no longer had to choose. I could afford both. I am very grateful to Horizon Estates because I didn't just get a dream home. I sent my son to his dream school too. Don't choose between dreams. Have it all with affordable homes in Horizon Estates.
Own a studio, 1, 2, 3 or 4 bed apartment opposite Lekki Phase 1 starting from 29.99 million naira outright payment when you buy 3 units. Terms and conditions apply. For more details, call 0700 123 9002 or visit hzelekki.com or visit our office at Roundabout Axis, Lekki Phase 1.
I like calm. It's him be say you like calm. I tell you say he no good for you, but you see they talk cause say you like calm. My pikin. You know say I go always get your back, but you gotta shine your eye well, take carry better thing. Like the new Golden Penny soya and vegetable oil wait there for brand new packaging.
The new Golden Penny soya oil contains vitamins A, D, and E with omega-3 and 6 and 0 trans fat. It is available for different sizes. Buy your own for retail store where they near you. Golden Penny oil, eat well, live well.
You can't choose when you get sick, but you could choose an HMO that helps you live more life. Now, you could choose an HMO with generic plans or Hygia HMO's customized plans for every stage of your life.
Now that's more like it.
You could choose an HMO with a handful of hospitals or Hygia HMO, which has a hospital network of over 2,000 providers within Nigeria with roaming options and no waiting time.
Yeah, that's more convenient.
You could also choose a cheaper HMO that doesn't quite meet your needs. Or you could have Hygia HMO's comprehensive yet affordable healthcare plans.
That's so amazing!
Life can be more with Hygia HMO. Live more life with Hygia HMO. Explore our comprehensive healthcare plans designed to meet your needs. Whether you're an individual, a family, elderly, an SME, or a corporate organization, we have affordable options for everyone. Visit our website at www.hygiahmo.com for more details. Hygia HMO. Live more life.
Every day is about winning with one play on Nigeria Info. On Nigeria Info, daily winnings is now over 150,000 naira. Just go to oneplay.ng or dial *347 *880 *3#. Play with as little as 500 naira, and in a few seconds, your ticket is in the draw. The more you play, the better your chances of winning every day on the Morning Crossfire, WhatsApp Lagos, and Game On shows on weekdays, and the Football Frenzy shows on weekends. But that's not all. Every Friday, there will be a 500,000 naira jackpot. Playing during the week automatically qualifies you for the weekly jackpot. Your chances of winning are the same whether you play on oneplay.ng or dial *347 *880 *3#. Remember to play responsibly. Not suitable for persons under the age of 18. OnePlay is a registered trademark under Lasho Trading Services Limited, licensed by the Lagos State Lotteries and Gaming Commission.
My children are athletes. From the moment they wake up, they keep playing and learning. So when I pack the new Milo NS snacks into their lunchbox, I'm giving them a delicious snack with the goodness of malt, milk, cocoa, and crunchy Niger-grown maize containing calcium, iron, and fiber.
Milo and Snacks, snack of future champions to help your kids refuel and keep winning all day. Milo, energy to go further.
Milo!
Pocari Sweat. My ions, please, can't get enough. My ions, please, give it to me now. Pocari Sweat. It gon' rehydrate you, yeah. Replenish your ions with Pocari Sweat. Rehydrate you faster, easy, we observe. Pocari Sweat. Give me some more. Pocari Sweat.
She start chasing all the bags. Come and secure another bag with the Jolly Just Come Welcome offer. Download BetKing app and register today using the promo code FREEBETS to enjoy your 100 Naira instant sign-up bonus and other exciting offers. Terms and conditions apply. Not for persons under 18 years. Play responsibly.
Have you ever shared unforgettable moments with friends? Of course you have, but are these moments being captured? Let's spotlight these cherished memories on billboards and show the world what they mean to you. Participate by sharing a picture of your memorable moments with your honorables on your social page using the hashtag #honorablemoments. And don't forget to tag your honorables. Terms and conditions apply. Honorable, brewed with honor.
For 3 great seasons, the fans have fought with passion and fire, their best they brought. The banter was bold, the debates were tight, each word a weapon, each match a fight. But now it's bigger, the stakes much higher, the battle returns and it's full of fire. Fan Battle 4 with Femi and the gang on 99.3 Nigeria Info. The stage is bang. In partnership with Sports Salon, we raise the game with glory, honor, and a shot at fame. Think you've got what it takes to score? Then step right up. It's time for more. Register now and take your stand. Your time to shine is now at hand.
Registration is ongoing on www.nigeriainfo.fm.
And Battle 4. Let the battle begin.
Did you know that micro, small, and medium enterprises account for 96% of Nigeria's businesses and contribute to about half of the country's GDP? They also provide around 84% of all employment in the country. Want to know more? Join us on Board Street Drive, our new business show, 2:30 p.m. Mondays on Nigeria Info 99.3 FM. Let's talk.
Little body, big moves. Little brain, big learning. Your little child is eager to do big things. Every sachet of Cerelac Junior comes with the nutrition they need: natural grains, protein, and iron to support their physical growth, learning, and development. So you can fully enjoy your little one's big moments of growth.
Every day is about winning with one play on Nigeria Info. On Nigeria Info, daily winnings is now over 150,000 Naira. Just go to oneplay.ng or dial *347 *880 *3#. Play with as little as 500 Naira, and in a few seconds, your ticket is in the draw. The more you play, the better your chances of winning every day on the Morning Crossfire, WhatsApp Lagos, and Game On shows on weekdays, and the Football Frenzy shows on weekends. But that's not all. Every Friday, there will be a 500,000 Naira jackpot. Playing during the week automatically qualifies you for the weekly jackpot. Your chances of winning are the same whether you play on oneplay.ng or dial *347 *880 *3#. Remember to play responsibly. Not suitable for persons under the age of 18. OnePlay is a registered trademark under Lasho Trading Services Limited, licensed by the Lagos State Lotteries and Gaming Commission.
99.3 Nigeria Info, your number one station for talk. Let's talk.
This is Hard Facts.
All right, it's still Hard Facts, 99.3 Nigeria Info. Today is Global Review, and we're looking still at what's happening in the DRC. My guest is joining us from Tennessee in the United States. He is a survivor side in the Rwanda. He lives now, obviously, safely in the United States. But of course, the bigger question asking, why is African Union quiet in the DRC? Could silence be also looked upon as complicity? Because if we're quiet, then it means that we're complicit. Yes, different regions of Africa have their different problems. For example, the Sahel region, including Nigeria, we have our Boko Haram issues. But what is happening in the DRC? Should the African Union be quiet? The phone lines are open. We're live on Facebook.com/Nigeria Info FM. We're live on YouTube, Nigeria Info FM. You could join the conversation. If you're listening from outside of the country or via our mobile app, you could join the conversation by calling us via Skype at Nigeria Info FM or on WhatsApp 08095975805. Before we went on that break, I was asking a question about the silence of the African Union and why we haven't heard anything. Should we still hold out hope that the African Union will find its voice? And if the European Union has finally said, well, we know that Rwanda is involved, should we expect anything from the EU, knowing that, from all of the reports, that they have a hand in it? They cannot obviously cut off their nose to spite their face, can they?
Yeah, you're 100%. I want to agree with you 100% on the fact that silence is complicity. When we know and see these type of things happening in Congo to the Congolese people and keep silent, it only helps the perpetrators. And so now we're part of perpetuating violence. And you asked before the break, what are other African countries doing? What is the African Union doing? You are doing a lot more than they are doing by actually speaking on these issues, by shedding light on the dark that the perpetrators bank on. The perpetrators bank on the fact that this can be kept secret, that this is not seen for what it is. The African Union has a serious issue. The issue is, I actually spoke to someone that works there, and I asked, why does the African Union why do they come across so incompetent? Like they are not doing anything to really uplift and move the continent forward. And of course, I recognize that the African Union is made of African elites who are also complicit in a lot of the issues that we have on the continent. But then she said, before the invasion and assassination of Libya, a lot of the funding was coming from Libya and Muammar Gaddafi. Since then, most of the finances come from the European Union. So what we have with basically at the African Union is African elites who are employees of the European Union, who are looking out for European interests. They're not looking out for what is best, Africa's best interest and African people's best interests. They don't have African best people's interests at heart. The European
Are
Union,
you suggesting that African countries begin to say no to the aid that comes from the EU because they might have some sort of ask, when they give us these things, they're receiving something with the other hand? Is that what you're implying?
No, I will say it openly. What we have, the African Union, a lot of the people running the African Union are in bed with the European Union in terms of how they operate, because the European Union is providing the funding. And you don't have to cut off aid to still represent what your people want. The issue that we have is that a lot of the leaders on the African continent do not represent the people. They don't represent the people's interests. And so when they go to the African Union, it's a club of elites who basically represent themselves. They are independent contractors, if you will. Now, with the European Union, you talked about their complicity in what's happening in Congo. One of the most egregious things that we have right now, one of the craziest thing, wildest thing that we have is the European Union signed a deal for access to critical minerals. They signed that deal with Rwanda. It's worth almost $1 billion, or maybe even more.
What minerals does Rwanda have?
All minerals like cassiterite, and very little gold. And by the way, Rwanda is like the #1 exporter of gold now, even though a lot of it is coming from the Congo. So there's also, earlier I said it was a war of invasion and aggression and access to resources, but there's looting and stealing and plundering resources from Congo through Rwanda to the global market. The gold is especially sold in the UAE and the Arab countries. But the European Union signed a deal for 900 million euros for Rwanda to provide them with critical minerals like coltan and other minerals that are used in this green revolution. Rwanda does not have deposits for these minerals. They come from the Congo. And so you can see now how the European Union is actually directly involved and directly implicated. One other example with the European Union. A couple years ago, the European Union made a statement and said, basically condemning Rwanda for its involvement or so-called involvement with the M23. We know the M23 is nothing without Rwanda and Uganda. But they condemned the M23 and Rwanda's involvement in it. And then, not long after, within weeks of that, they gave Rwanda 20 million euros. And this money was not for humanitarian, it was not for education, it was not health. They gave it to the military, to Rwanda's military, even though they had just recognized that Rwanda's military is invading the Congo. And what they said was that they were giving that money to support Rwanda's operations in Mozambique, in Cabo Delgado, as if when you get weapons, it's like me basically saying, okay, you know what? I'll give you clothes to wear on your show, as if you're not going to wear them for private events or something like that. As if basically Rwanda getting those resources, those military resources, they're not going to use them in the Congo. And when you look at the M23, they don't look like a rebel group. I mean, we've seen rebels on the continent and in other places. Some people are wearing flip-flops. Some people are wearing tank tops. Some people are wearing an old Michael Jordan red jersey and a Kobe Bryant jersey. And, you know, they're like, it's ragtag. They barely have any weapons. When you look at the M23, they have night goggles. They are very well equipped. They have...
They look like a proper militia.
Like a proper army. They are Rwanda and Uganda's conventional military. They have like GPS jamming equipment to jam the airplanes that are flying to fight them. Wow. And they have these night goggles, and I mean they've got all kinds of equipment. They have surface-to-air missiles. I mean they've got all of this equipment. When you trace back, the equipment comes from Rwanda and Uganda, and so it's really and by the way, Rwanda and Congo are not the only two countries that Uganda's invaded. We also have an issue in South Sudan right now. So the African Union, back to the African Union, is also made up of people like Museveni and Kagame and Salva Kiir of South Sudan and others, were Bashir before he was captured in Sudan. And so you have this mix of people who already are like committing major crimes and they want to provide themselves cover to not face accountability, and they want to perpetuate themselves. So they will toe the line for the European Union because that's who's funding them, who's funding the not only their countries, but the African Union. And so you ask if we should hold out hope from the African Union, and that would be like holding hope for ECOWAS doing the right thing in the Sahel. It's not easy if that paints the picture for you.
Anyway, well, I want to open up the phone lines there because you can join the conversation. Skype is open. You can join the conversation via phone lines. For the ladies, call 0201-277-0993. That's 0201 Sorry, for the men, 0201-277-0993. For the ladies, 0201-465-7190. Who will save Africa if Africa cannot save itself? That's the question I'm asking. Hello, welcome to Global Review.
Hello, good evening, Maryann.
Good evening. What's your name, sir? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, my name is Ede, calling from Badagry.
All right, go ahead.
My submission is the African Union is to blame, really, for all that is happening in Africa, especially in the DRC. And that is why we have some of these African countries have actually left their their so-called masters. So the others, they are just stooges to these Western countries. You see, that is why someone like Gaddafi was gotten rid of. Because Gaddafi will actually look them in the face and tell them what is right. So there is just Africa. Africa is just what Africa is, by this kind of rulers we have. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for calling. I do appreciate it. 0201-277-0993. You can join the conversation on WhatsApp. We still have with us our guest who's joining us from the United States. He is a survivor of the genocide in Rwanda. Hello, welcome to Global Review. Turn off your radio.
Good evening. Good afternoon.
Good evening. Go ahead.
Good afternoon to your friends. Sorry, good evening. America is my name from Satellite Town. It's quite unfortunate. I've been listening to you and your guests, and I'm just wondering, when will Africa rise up? When will Africa wake up? Because it appears that we have the wrong leaders or wrong people in places of authority. Hence, the continued subjugation of Africa. As it stands, the DRC has no hope, because African Union is pretending to be asleep, while the rest of the world watches, and they are being plundered. This war has raged on for so long, and with the huge deposit of minerals in DRC, I don't see any succor coming in soon for the people of DRC. It's quite unfortunate, and this is a wake-up call for African people. It's high time we pick the right people, because we have the right people in the right places. They will definitely do the right thing for Africa. Only then can Africa have a rebirth.
All right. Thank you very much. Who will save Africa if Africa cannot save itself? Hello.
Hello, Maryann.
Good evening. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Where is calling from, Monsieur?
Go ahead, please.
You know, I remember 1987, Thomas Sankara made a statement that Africa has one currency. I think that nobody is supporting African Union during that time. The same in Gaddafi. The genocide that was, I don't know what is going on in African leaders. You know, especially this of Nigeria. They are supposed to be a lead example. Because we start where during the time of our independence. I don't know what is going on now. In Africa, they need to sit there and do the needful. So make Africa great togetherness. Thank you, and God bless Nigeria.
Thank you very much for calling. We do appreciate it. 0201-277-0993. Hello, welcome to Global Review.
Hi, Maryann, how are you doing?
I'm fine, thank you. What's your name?
Here. Number one, let me tell you, Africa will never be saved. Africa is a conquered land.
Why?
Get it now. Africa is a conquered land because the president you have are long-throated and kindergarten presidents all through Africa, including Nigeria. The people who fought for the liberation of Africa, the Pan-Africanists, Kwame Nkrumah, all of them, the kind of spirit they had is from this kind of spirit that all these political entrepreneurs, you call your leaders today, have. Africa Union building was built by China. Every year, African countries go to Japan. Every year, African countries go to Russia. Every year, they go to America. They go to London. They go to Germany as a group. So when you have visionless people as your leaders, Africa will never grow. And the late Mandela said something before he died. He said, the day Nigeria gets it right, Africa will be upright. Where is Nigeria today? Maryann Okon. Thank you.
Thank you very much for calling. I've got about 3 minutes on the clock before I let my guests go. 0201-277-0993, 0201-465-7190. Hello.
Hi, Maryann.
Good evening. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
The last man has just given us a bitter pill, but it's nothing but the gospel truth. Except we remove this defeatist attitude that we have, going cap in hand to beg the Western world for everything, almost every time. We've sold our birthright, They come here to slander us and plunder us over nothing. Yes, we still go cap in hand, groveling and shoveling as if we are beggars that we are. Except to get that mentality right. Maryann, Africa will forever be slave. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for calling. But maybe it's just me, but I think that we place too much responsibility on our leaders. They're just one person. What about the followers? What about the citizens? How are we making or keeping these people responsible? I'll take one last call before we wrap things up. Hello.
Hello, Maryann.
Yes.
This is Lawson calling from Yenagua.
Lawson, go ahead.
Intelligent guest you have with you. Yeah, you have with you, dear. The truth of the matter is that you cannot blame Africa. You see, Africa, it's poverty. Africa is poor. Look, just like what he said.
Are we poor? Are you sure that Africa is poor?
Yes, we have the resources, but we do not know how to harness these resources.
Then we're not poor. We're just mismanagers. We're not poor.
Maybe, but we depend heavily on the Europeans and the Americans. And so long as we depend on them, they will continue to do these things. You understand? They will continue to do these things. So the day Africa stands up and then say, look, enough is enough, and say, okay, forget about your aid and all that. But that won't happen. Just as he also said, some of these leaders are also in the AU. They are right there in the African Union. So it's really difficult, honestly, very difficult to do. In short, he revealed a lot of things. And I was even I provide when we listening to him because he really, in fact, today he has really opened up everything. Because I just hear Uganda and what's their name, Rwanda.
Uganda
why
and
they are
DRC.
doing that is, yes, it's today that he has really revealed everything. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Lawson, for calling from Yenagua. We do appreciate you. Before I let you go, Claude, where's Felix Tshisekedi? What? I mean, I'm thinking that the DRC does have a leader, but it looks like a leaderless country. In 1 minute, can the DRC be saved?
Oh, definitely. Absolutely. I'll start with the fact that the DRC does not have a competent leader. I think Felix Tshisekedi's incompetence has shown through, and also doesn't have the mandate of the people in the way that he came into power. But then the fact the DRC can be saved, one, by us, all of us. Obviously, I'm really appreciative of you actually shining a light on it, speaking up on what's happening, because there's so much dark that hides what's happening in the Congo. Secondly, we've got to push and make sure that we pressure all of these international players that are holding down the Congo.
Oh, we've got to go. We have got to go. We have just 5 seconds. I want to say thank you, Claude Gatebuke, for joining us on the show. We really appreciate you, and come back soon, okay?
Definitely. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
You are listening to your number one station for talk.
99.3 Nigeria Info.
99.3 Nigeria Info. Let's talk. 99.3 Nigeria Info. We are more than just radio. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at Nigeria Info FM. Check us out on Facebook at Nigeria Info 99.3. Follow us on Twitter at Nigeria Info FM and on Instagram at Nigeria Info FM Lagos for live updates as it happens. 99.3 Nigeria Info. Let's talk.